The janitor. Everyone looked down on, until they discovered his true worth. Every morning before the sun rose over the city, Jolly arrived at the Grand City Mall to begin his workday. Jolly was not a manager or a shop owner. He worked as a janitor, quietly cleaning the floors, polishing the glass doors, and making sure the mall looked perfect before customers arrived. Even though his job was simple, Jolly always worked with pride because he believed that every honest job deserved respect. Some employees greeted him kindly, others barely noticed him, and a few people openly looked down on him because of his uniform. But Jolly never reacted with anger because he believed that kindness was more powerful than pride. One morning, a luxury sports car pulled up outside the mall entrance. A wealthy businessman named Rico stepped out, dressed in an expensive suit and carrying an air of importance. As he walked inside, his polished shoes suddenly stepped into a small, sticky spot on the floor that Jolly had not finished cleaning. Rico immediately became irritated. He looked around and said loudly, "Who is responsible for cleaning this place?" Jolly walked over calmly and replied politely, "I am responsible, sir. I apologize. I will clean it immediately." Rico looked at Jolly's worn uniform and shook his head. "So you are the reason this place still looks cheap," Rico said dismissively. Instead of defending himself, Jolly simply nodded and said, "I will do better." As Jolly cleaned the floor, an elderly named Mr. Bennett slowly walked into the mall. His clothes were old and slightly worn. He entered a small bakery and quietly asked if he could buy yesterday's leftover bread at a lower price. The cashier refused and spoke harshly to him. "If you do not have money, you should not come here," the cashier said. Embarrassed, Mr. Bennett turned to leave. Jolly had seen the entire exchange from a distance. Without hesitation, he walked up to the counter and asked, "How much is the bread?" The cashier replied, $12. Jolly opened his wallet and realized he only had enough money for his own lunch. After a brief pause, he placed the money on the counter and said, "I will pay for it." Mr. Bennett looked surprised and said, "You really do not need to do this." Jolly smiled gently and replied, "Everyone deserves a meal, especially on a difficult day." Rico had been watching the situation unfold and laughed quietly. A janitor paying for strangers is exactly why some people never move forward in life, he said. Jolly looked at him calmly and replied, "Helping someone has never made anyone poorer. Sometimes it makes us richer in ways money cannot measure." Later that afternoon, Jolly was called into the mall management office. The manager warned him that he had been late twice that month because he had stayed home to care for his daughter when she was sick. "If it happens again, we may have to let you go," the manager said. Jolly respectfully accepted the warning and returned to work without complaint. That evening, Jolly picked up his daughter Luna from school. As they walked home together, Luna noticed that Jolly did not have his usual lunch container. She asked softly, "Dad, did you eat today?" Jolly smiled and said, "I was not very hungry," but Luna understood the truth. Without saying anything, she quietly broke her sandwich into 2 pieces and gave him the larger half. "Dads need energy too," she said. Jolly felt emotional but smiled proudly because he knew he was raising a kind child. A few days later, Rico returned to the mall for an important investor meeting. As he walked through the entrance, an elderly man suddenly slipped near the doorway. Many people noticed the fall, but no one stepped forward because they did not want to become involved. Jolly immediately ran to help. He helped the man sit up, checked if he was injured, and called emergency services while speaking calmly to comfort him. "You are going to be all right," Jolly reassured him. Rico watched the entire situation silently, noticing something different this time. Jolly was not helping for attention. He was helping because it was simply who he was. A week later, something unexpected happened. Several luxury vehicles arrived at the mall, followed by a news crew and corporate representatives. The mall manager rushed outside looking nervous. Rico was confused and asked what was happening. The manager replied, "The primary investor is making a surprise visit today." Moments later, a black limousine arrived. When the door opened, everyone was shocked to see Mr. Bennett step out, but he looked completely different. He was now dressed in an elegant suit and surrounded by assistants. Rico looked stunned. "You know him?" Rico asked. The manager replied quietly, "He owns a major share of this entire property." Mr. Bennett walked past the executives, past the managers, and directly toward Jolly. He smiled warmly and said, "This is the man I came to see." Everyone looked confused. Mr. Bennett then explained, "Last week, I came here dressed as someone struggling because I wanted to see how people treat those who appear to have nothing." The crowd became silent. "Many people ignored me," he continued. "Some treated me with disrespect, but one man treated me with dignity." He placed his hand on Jolly's shoulder. This man showed me kindness when he believed I had nothing to offer him. Rico looked deeply uncomfortable. Mr. Bennett then turned to the mall management and said, "Effective immediately, Jolly will no longer work as janitorial staff." Everyone waited to hear what would happen next. "He will now serve as community relations director because this mall needs people who understand humanity, not just profit." Jolly looked overwhelmed and replied, "I was only trying to help someone." Mr. Bennett smiled and answered, "That is exactly why you deserve this opportunity." Rico slowly approached Jolly and said quietly, "I judged you based on your position, and I was wrong." Jolly replied kindly, "We all make mistakes. What matters is what we learn from them." That evening, Jolly returned home with Luna. Luna looked up at him and asked, "Does this mean we are rich now?" Jolly smiled and gently replied, "We have always been rich in the ways that matter most." Luna asked, "What do you mean?" Jolly placed his hand over her heart and said, "Kindness, respect, and love are the only riches that never disappear." Luna hugged him tightly, and Jolly knew that no promotion could ever equal that moment. Because true success is not measured by how high you rise, but by how many people you lift along the way.